Alright, it's February 3rd, out here on a walk, nice sunny day. It's about like 1 in the afternoon. Yeah, yesterday I got slammed. Yesterday was my 6th day of juicing, and I got slammed with cravings. I can't remember when it started. I think it did start during work, and man, it was to the point where I was just envisioning the textures, I was envisioning the tastes, um, and it wasn't just those things, but also dealing with the thoughts of FOMO, the fear of missing out, the fear of never having it again, the fear of never getting to experience the taste and pleasure from it again. It was that. Yeah, just the FOMO was big. That one was big. That's usually one that gets me to eat, because it's like, oh, just experience it one more time, enjoy your last time with it, and then get back to what you're doing. So, but yeah, I was just experiencing all those things. When you're at work, you can't really process those things. So you kind of, usually, I'll ask myself a few questions, but usually I reason with myself pretty quickly, just so I'm not dealing with that at work, because work isn't a place where you can just sit to yourself for 10 minutes and 10 plus minutes and just sit and process those things fully. So, usually that is a time you have to gaslight yourself that, well, not necessarily. You don't have to say, no, I feel good right now. That's what I meant by gaslighting. Or you could gaslight yourself in this way of, no, man, not even gaslight yourself, be real with yourself. Look, I know, Brandon, you're going through these cravings right now. You need attention right now. Or just right now is not the moment. So when we get home, we can express there. We can sit down and we can process. We can deal with this situation when we have time to. But right now, I just need you to cooperate. I know this isn't something we want to be doing anyways, but it's helping pay the bills. It's helping us get money to make the juice, So right now, let's just relax, and we'll figure this out after work. When we have time to sit down and really process this fully with our full awareness, full attention. So saying things like that, but you could even be like, I know I don't want these things. This is the type of gaslighting I was talking about. I know I don't want these things at all, so I'm just gonna forget about it. I know it's just an addiction. I know it's just a craving, but I know I don't want it, even though at that moment you actually do want it. Or so it's just telling myself. So that's what I meant by the gaslighting. Not to the point where you're just like, oh no, I don't need it. I'm fine, But no, more just letting yourself know, hey, I see you. Hey, I feel you. I understand you're having these cravings, or even having these withdrawals. Right now, I know you need the attention, but right now I just can't give it to you because my focus has to be on this task at hand. But whenever we get out of here, whenever we get home, I'll give all my time and attention to you, and we'll see why this is happening right now. We'll figure this out. So instead of just blowing it off, acknowledging it and meeting in the middle with it, But yeah, man, so I was dealing with that. It was nothing too crazy because like my reasonings are just so strong now. Like the knowledge I have to why I'm doing what I'm doing and my intentions for it, it just like it constantly bounces me. It constantly bounces me in and out from the craving to not having a craving to the craving to not having a craving. So it's it's really not that I think she thought I was recording, so she put her jacket in front of her face as I was walking by her. And didn't even acknowledge me, just told her straight up put her jacket in front of her face so I didn't record her. People are so funny. But yeah, um, so, but man, I mean, those things, they hit me hard. Like all kinds of food were popping up. Like I said, I've been able to handle it. I've been wanting to sit and process it. I've been wanting to face these things fully, but they just haven't been coming up. And then yesterday, it just boom, out of nowhere, and it hit me with all kinds of foods, smells. I mean, I could smell, I could taste, I could feel the texture, not just in my hands, but just imagining the texture of like a grilled burrito and the hard shell on it, and and yeah, man, I mean chili, all kinds of things, man. It was crazy. And but yeah, of course, by the time I get home, I don't know what happened, but it knocked my ass out. Like I didn't even get to sit and process these things. I went home and I immediately passed out, and then and yeah, immediately passed out. Slept for hours. Woke up like right at nighttime, probably like 6:30 or 7, and then I actually smoked some pot for the first time in 6+ months, and literally did nothing to me. I actually smoked pot for the first time 2 days ago, because it was like 10 o'clock, and I was curious already as to what pot would do to me, so I wanted to try it, but I had tried it at like 10 o'clock that night anyways, and I smoked a bowl and it did nothing, so I smoked another bowl and ended up just passing out. But I don't even know, I didn't wake up with any drowsiness or anything, so I thought that was interesting because before, as soon as I hit the bowl, I would already start feeling effects, even with how much I smoked before. It was like no matter what, as soon as I smoked, it was I could feel the effects from it. But but yeah, the most I felt that night was like my body, a slight tingle in my body. But yeah, I smoked earlier yesterday as soon as I woke up then. And see, I woke up, smoked a full bowl, and nothing. I mean, not a fucking thing. I didn't have a head high, I didn't have a body high, nothing at all. Now, you know, this pack is from 6 months ago, but it's been in airtight containers. I even have these fresh baggies that sit with it and keep the moisture, keep it moisturized, so like the nugs were still super super soft and dense, and wasn't dried out or nothing. So it's just interesting to me, like what's up with that. So Yeah, no high, no craving for the weed or anything afterwards. Like I woke up this morning still, like I'm just like, all right, well, I guess I'm past that. That's nice to know. But yeah, so, and I didn't have any feelings of like, oh man, I can't get high anymore, this or that. No, I was actually kind of happy. I was like, oh dude, that's cool. That must mean I'm raising my state of being to where something like this doesn't affect my body anymore. Um, like I must be so high in my state of being. Um, I must be having that natural high in myself, which I feel. I feel so much more at ease because that's what weed used to bring me. It used to bring me ease. It used to bring me comfort. It used to help me just get out of this world. But now it's like I have gotten out of this world by the fact of detaching and healing, and therefore because I've healed so much and all that, I've naturally just started creating my own peace, creating my own ease, creating my own sanity. So I haven't needed to smoke, because I've been creating that for myself just in my lifestyle choices. But yeah, so it sucked because after I smoked, I should have, what I wanted to do, which I had already started watching First Amendment audit videos. I like those. I just like seeing people call out these shitty cops. Um, and yeah, just fucking put them in their place. So I don't know, I like watching those. I like people who standing up for their rights and such, even though it's limited, but still standing up for the rights they do have. And so I went into watching those up until 10 o'clock at night. But as soon as I started the first one, I was like, man, I should have just laid down and observed, observed this, what I just smoked, observed what I just went through. But instead, I went straight into entertainment. And so it shows where I lacked the self-control there. And so that's just something to note for myself. Because what did watching First Amendment audits do for me? I've seen so many already in my life. It's not like I needed it. The only thing it was entertainment, really. So just something to note for myself. Then I ended up passing out around between 10 and 11 and woke back up this morning, did that video, just played binaural beats and what's it called, singing bowls, and we should just continue laying down. Then after that, I got up to go for a walk. The ground was so frozen. I pushed through it for like a mile, and man, my feet were hurting so bad that I just had to turn around and go back home, and my feet were hurting so fucking bad. So but yeah, just walking those 2 miles this morning, didn't even get to do the full walk as I'm doing now, just because the ground was completely frozen, but it was nice and warm outside. But I guess last night just got cold, and so that made me go back home. But man, that put my ass to sleep for 3 to 4 more hours. So I've been getting a shit ton of sleep recently, these past 2 days, and which is much needed, and really taking advantage of it, but immediately when I woke back up, just came out here and just started walking. I'm trying to spend much less time on my phone, much less time watching any entertainment. So if I am on my phone, I'm watching my dad's videos or other people's videos that are documenting their journey or sharing their stories, along those lines. And so, but yeah, man, when I woke up this morning, it had to, when I got, after I did that this morning, there was well, when I woke up this morning and played those binaural beats, played the sound bath, I just sat down and or I just I went straight into talking to my inner child and talking to myself in general, but really talking to my inner child. Because see, this is how I'm viewing it. Because we are, because I am a hurt child in an adult body, you know. So whereas when you're born, you're supposed to be born into a safe space, right? And you're supposed to be allowed to develop your essence, develop your authenticity. But see, because the complete 180 happened, we never actually developed. All we developed was characters. All we developed was an ego, and we were just in survival the entire time. So it's not like we actually got to develop. We're still a child at heart. We're still a child that never was nurtured and was never given that space to discover itself and such. So what's wild is so that's what I was thinking. It's like, you know, you're on the timeline, 1 2 3 4, -1, -2, -3, -4, and that's, you know, from the first day we were born, that's the side we went straight down the negatives. So really it's like we were born here and we just started digging ourselves a hole, and and there was no upgrading, there was no developing, there was no growing, there was no maturing. It was all we literally just we went the complete opposite direction. And so that's where I can understand now is that I am for sure a hurt child, in survival, reacting out of survival in an adult body. And also how it makes sense of that is that because I'm still reacting. So put it like this, when we were born, we fought for authenticity, right? We were authentic. We were as authentic as we could be, but we saw that this place was not conducive to biological life. We saw this place was non-conducive to our authenticity. We saw we had to fit in, and 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 so immediately we started learning how to fit in, what character to play, how to comply in order to receive attention and affection, in order to receive love, in order to be seen, heard, and valued. You know, we saw we had to play the game. And so immediately we started fitting in, we started complying, we started obeying, we started creating a character that thrived in its environment. And thriving as in receiving all those things, like I said, attention, affection, and all that, being seen in its environment. You know, we could only take so much of the abuse, of the misuse of not being accepted because of our authenticity, because of our natural reactions to an unnatural environment. And so you know, that inner child went into survival mode and built a bunch of coping mechanisms, created a bunch of characters, knew how to play the game, knew how to get by, knew how to go along to get along. And because of that, see, and that's the thing, we've had to play that game for days, for years, continuously, over and over and over and over again, from moment to moment. So eventually this fantasy we saw we were in, that we had to take part in and just play along, eventually has become so real that it's became reality. It's became all we've known. And so there's so we so it's like we forgot that we were in survival, and we just literally made the best of what we've had, even though it's not good at all. We've just made the best of what we've had, and but we totally forgot. So now we saw these coping mechanisms where we're like, whatever, but we've eventually turned into loving them. We've eventually turned into being addicted to them, into needing them. And so it's like we totally forgot who we really were before we started playing this game. We've been playing character for so long, it's just become so real. We think our characters are actually us, you know. So that's what I mean. A hurt inner child, traumatized survivalist child, that's the one making the decisions, because that's who we still are. We've never got to build up from our child self, from when we had to shut off our authenticity in order to create those characters. And so we're still immature. We're mature according to society, but like I said, that's way off. So yeah, because the way we react now, if we've never even acknowledged or even tried healing any of these issues, cognitive dissonance, programming, conditioning, addictions, trauma and abuse, if we've never even tried hitting on these things, then we're still acting out of our ego. Then we're still acting out of, we're still identifying with our trauma. We're still identifying with our cognitive dissonance and our programming, because that's all we know. That's who we are at the moment. And therefore we are reacting out of childhood trauma. We are reacting out of our hurt inner child, because because we haven't anytime. So for example, like when you start feeling uneasy, because you've never had the chance to, you've never been taught on how to deal with your emotions. Instead, as an inner child, you learn how to cope whenever you feel those emotions. And see, we still do that as adults. Instead of knowing how to sit and process and observe what's going on in these emotions and dealing with them at hand and overcoming them right then and there and getting to the root of it right then and there, we immediately search for a cope. We immediately search for a distraction, for a dopamine hit, anything to take away the uneasiness we're feeling, because so that just shows. So that's reacting out of a hurt inner child. That's reacting out of a traumatized child. So we're still reacting. We're not reacting maturely. We're not reacting from our essence. We're reacting out of survival. Yeah, hopefully y'all are putting this together. I was putting it together well before I started this video, and then I don't know, I just turned on the video and I'm kind of all over the place. but I'm sure I'll watch this over and be able to make another video and condense what I'm saying. But yeah, so that's all I'm saying is it's just interesting to think about. Like, we've been thrown into this fantasy. We tried standing strong, but at every moment we were just bashed and and yeah, we were just bashed and harmed and mistreated, that we were like, okay, well, I see, I'm trying, but I see the only way to go about this shit is just to play along, just to try and fit in, just to just to play the game. And so these giants stop fucking abusing me. um so yeah, and we start doing that. And yeah. Brain fart. I'm just trying to find a spot to sit down. And yeah, so we saw we had to just play along to get along. Um, Play along to get along to go along. So, um, but we just, there was there was no no time of not playing. So like I said, the fantasy just became a reality to where it just felt real. It felt like that's all there is. And there was never time to tap back into our authenticity, because this game is invasive. It's everywhere, every second, every moment. So it was just constant building that character, constant building those copes, and putting a blindfold on, uh, disconnecting from our essence and our true and our authentic feelings and reactions and such. We just yeah, pretty wild. And from there, because as a child you learn to survive, you're forever living out of what you learned. So yeah, fuck, I'm having a brain fart. Probably just gonna end this video now. But that's what I was trying to tell myself this morning. That was the video I made this morning. Was, Brandon, you need to recognize, man, you've been abused, misused, mistreated. You've been traumatized since you were a baby, for days, for years, for 25 years. Well, definitely for 18 years. And and you've been living out of survival. You were intelligent enough to learn how to cope, so that way you didn't get abused to any higher than what you did. As in, because kids who stand up for their authenticity, kids who can't comply, they're thrown on all kinds of meds. They're labeled with all kinds of disorders and issues. The ODD, oppositional defiant disorder, which just means you won't follow orders, which the orders of this society are unnatural and inhumane and dysfunctional to our biological functioning. So, the kids who just can't comply, the kids who just constantly have their middle fingers up, and that is bringing on so much more abuse on yourself than just complying. Because fuck, man, I mean, the authorities will fuck you left and right. Your parents will constantly ridicule you. Your peers will constantly ridicule you and scorn you, and constantly point their fingers at you for being the issue and the problem. So I, as a child, I just learned. I saw, wow, I need to comply. I need to get on the program, so that way things don't get any worse than they already are. I'll make the best out of my hell that I can right now. And that's what I did. And so I just got to realize, I had that intelligence as a baby to recognize that. And I need to recognize that. And I need to recognize that there was I played this game. And and I thought who knows, maybe I thought it was just going to be for a moment's time, but it was year after year after year after year, decade after decade. And, and, um, and I was under the thumb of authority. I had to. There was nothing else I could do. I had to. Um, and and so it just became so real for me. I need to recognize that um, the game I played in has turned into a reality for me, has became the truth for me. But I need to realize that I'm no longer under the thumb of authority. I'm no longer being held hostage, and now I have the free will that I didn't have as a child, to for me to decide what I put in my mouth, what I put in my body, and what I put in my mind. So now I have the chance to return back to who I truly was. I have the chance to I'm no longer obligated to play the game. I'm no longer obligated to follow, to comply. And so, recognizing why I still am, and is allowing me to remember who I really am, is allowing me to remember what I'm really made of, and my potential and my capabilities and such. So, I just had to tell myself that this morning. It was a good reminder, because it was like, holy shit, I need to recognize why I am an addict. I need to recognize why I am going through cravings. I need to recognize why I am attached to these behavioral patterns, and attached to these certain emotions, and attached to these certain relationships and things like that. I need to recognize where that all stems from. And and I can see like trauma bonds being attached to those certain relationships, whether it was an old girlfriend or an old buddy. We were trauma bonding. See, we knew we were playing a game, even though, let's say, we were 10 years into the game, but we saw that we alleviated each other's pain through just that connection we had. But that connection was coming out of trauma. And so it's realizing that a lot of my relationships were just trauma bonding, and such, like not having to play character when you're around your friend. Although I know I still played character around every single one of my friends. There was those more authentic moments, but like, the character was just so strong. That's just who I was. But they alleviated the feelings of having to be so strong in that character, having to keep a certain demeanor, because around your friends you can let loose, you can laugh, you can, don't take life so serious. And so, but really that was all just, and because they gave that space for me, there became an attachment. There became that need for them, because they alleviated some of that pain. But I gotta realize that those connections weren't fully authentic. That I was giving them that space too, to have a little fun and act a little free. So yeah, just recognizing all these things, and because recognizing all these things and tracing it back to the root, I can now start to remember who I really am. I can be like, well, who was I before I started before I started living out of survival? Who was I before I started creating the ego of many alters and many characters and many masks, in order to um, be a good component to this game, uh, so um, that's about it. I'm hoping that these cravings come back again so I can fucking face them head on, fully head on, and see what's up. Just gonna continue walking today and go home and go right back to sleep, you know, just rest, relax. Yeah, just take it easy. But I highly do recommend watching that video this morning of called Recognizing to Remember. That probably puts everything I said more into perspective. But like I said, I'll watch this again and then try to condense down everything I'm saying. See if I was jumping around the point or not. But yeah, feeling good though. My vision is very vivid today. I'm naturally fasting. I'm really thinking just going 3 days dry fast. It just feels needed right now. I say 3 days, but I'm just taking it moment by moment. But definitely gonna fast today. Gonna fast tomorrow. I'm not gonna take any juice to work tomorrow. And yeah, gonna fast. Just gonna continue this fast. I have work tomorrow and Tuesday. I have off Wednesday, so we'll see if I push past 3 days and, you know, fast the rest of my fast that 4th day, and on that 4th day make my juices for work for Thursday. So so that's what's up with me at the moment. Yeah, man, those cravings were no joke yesterday, but I got a lot of sleep from that. I didn't get to process any of it, which kind of sucks, but that's what I'm thinking, like, because not only the Matrix sets things up for, you know, those distractions, the place through those individuals to steer us off our path, to discourage us, and then hits us with those distractions. You know, you'll look up and you'll see something you're just thinking of, or craving, or, you know, things like that. But also the matrix within us that's been created through our ego and our survival, you know. So like, because I came into my juicing so much more determined and ready to face whatever was in front of me, it's like the ego knew. It was like, okay, oh fuck, we gotta be strategic now, you know. We don't just want to throw cravings at him all day, because he's gonna sit and process that shit. So we got to get him at his lowest. We got to get him at the times where he's weak and he actually can't sit and process these things. We're gonna get him, you know, like, it's warfare right now. It's warfare. It's a spiritual warfare outside of us and inside of us. Battling the ego within, and then battling the ego without. The ego of society. And yeah, so but yeah, I see how strategic the matrix is within. It's like the ego is just fighting to its wits end to survive. And yeah, so, but it's nothing to sweat about. It's nothing to get upset about. Nothing like that, you know. Just constantly staying prepared by continually aligning my thoughts, words, and actions to truth, fact, and reality, and doing exactly what I need to do to show that I love and respect myself, to prove that to myself, and not succumb to the ego's desires. So yeah, till next video, take care, peace out.